going to jump right into recruiting since we're already there. How do you get your name out to attract the right kind of people?
Do you want me to go? Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Wow, sorry, my chair just broke. Okay, I'm not going to use that. We've been asking, so I'll tell you a story of how we hired our first A players, or our best people. When I started Well.ca, it was about 3 months in, and I mean the previous question was, when do you start recruiting, when do you start hiring? I can tell you for a fact that from the first day that I started this company to today, I've been recruiting every single one of those days. We have been working on recruiting all that time. If you're running a business, sure, fill the roles that you need, but if you're running a startup, the value of your startup is in its people, and so you need to be investing all of your time in building the best team of people every single day, and that's the CEO's job. But I remember when I started, it was about 2 months in, we started making our first sales, we had some revenue, we needed staff, I was writing all the software. And I sent this email to every one of the greatest managers and greatest people I'd ever worked with in all my previous companies. All those people that should never have worked at Well.ca. Like the kind of people that you're like, if they actually accept this offer, they're crazy. We don't deserve to work with people of this caliber, and they shouldn't be accepting a salary this low. And I remember sending that email to about 10 people, and the subject line of the email was, "It's time to quit your job," right? And I sent that email to a bunch of people, including my previous manager at RIM. And the crazy thing is that 3 out of those 5 people wrote me back within a week and said, "Let's talk." And 2 of those 5 people joined Well.ca. And they took half the salary they were making because of the excitement in what I was talking about and the ability to be part of something that was just starting and was interesting and was bigger than what they were working on, in the sense that there was growth. But your question was more about, I guess, how do you attract A players? And I think the most important thing for me has been to never give up on always trying to recruit A players. So we're still in that mode. My company, 3 years or 4 years in now, is still in the mode where we're hiring people, and we literally, internally in our company, talk amongst each other and say, I have no idea why this person is even entertaining joining Well.ca. They totally could get a better job somewhere else, but we're just going to keep pretending like it makes sense. And that's kind of the state you always want to be in. You want to be recruiting people that you don't think you deserve to work with, and never give up on that kind of feeling.
Yeah. And on that note, is there ever a time when it's okay to settle?
Let's ask the other panelists.
Yeah, sure.
No, okay.
Do you mean settle on a candidate?
Settle on someone who you think might be less than an A player.
I would say no. I always want to recruit the best for my company, so if that means that we have to push out the hiring date, then that's what happens, because I'd rather bring in the right fit than the wrong fit and then have to deal with that in the long term. So hold out for those A players, or the person that you get that warm and fuzzy about in the interview, and you'll know that, like, probably within the first couple of minutes, sometimes you can tell they're great. But I would definitely hold out for a top candidate.
So getting into the next question, how do you balance hiring someone with lots of experience and probably going to cost you more money with someone that is new to the workforce and it's going to be a less expensive hire? Rebecca?
Sure. So again, I think there's a lot of really talented people out there. It's a matter of finding them, and where do you find them. And I mean, a lot of the people that NFLIC hires are people through referrals. I know all the recruitment agencies will hate me in the room when I say this, but we're willing to give anything to our employees for them to refer their brilliant friends. So oftentimes brilliant people surround themselves with other brilliant people. So we could pay a recruiter to go and search LinkedIn and post and find us people, but at the same time, our greatest strength in-house would be to leverage the connections of our current employees. So for us, we don't look at years of experience as something that we require in order to get the job done or hire the right person. For us, it's making sure that somebody who comes on board is the right fit for us culturally. But additionally, there are superstars out there that are new grads, and they're far stronger than people with 7 years of experience, and some of these people have been developing since they were in high school, and so they may be at the same level of somebody who has 7 years of experience. At the same time, maybe they're more current in the latest technologies than somebody who has more experience, because they've still been using I won't I won't get into the languages, but the older languages that maybe have matured at this point, and now you're looking at, leveraging the power of HTML5 or something like that, and people are like, what's HTML5? And you're like, okay, next. And so I don't think for us, it's a matter of lots of experience, and somebody with 7+ years of experience could make the same amount as somebody who's a new grad just because they're just that brilliant and they can get the job done. So for us, it's hiring the right person.
To Natalie then, so how much thought or effort do you put into your employer brand? And is that something that just evolves, or is it something that is purposefully put together?
The brand for our company has been there for years. We call it the Maya Way. There's 10 rules that we kind of live by, and we've incorporated that right down to our recruitment strategy. So we're always looking for that right cultural fit, the right brand of person to come into our organization. So from right from our job descriptions to our interview questions, they're aware of our brand. When we go out and do public engagements with the students, they're aware of our brand as well. And we promote our brand or our Maya Way throughout the organization all the time. So I believe promoting the brand is important.
Right. Allie, I saw you. Oh, sorry. Rebecca,
sorry, I was just going to add on to that for us, it's taking who we are and always putting that best foot forward. So, we're not going to interview somebody and have it be a really, regimented, traditional interview where it's always one way. Our culture is such that if you went up to the CEO and said, hey, I have a really great idea, or hey, I think we're totally off the mark on this, he would be more than welcoming to hear and probably implement that idea. And so for us, it's in everything that we do. So when we go to a recruiting event, we're not going to dress up in a pantsuit or wear a tie, because who we are is jeans, and for the most part jeans and t-shirts and that sort of thing. So when we talk about our brand, it's how we live each day culturally, but also when we put that face forward to the community, it's, hey, we're not any different to you as we are in-house, and so you're getting exactly what you can see right now is what you're going to see if you were an employee at Enflick. So that's what's important for us.
Excellent. Allie, did you have something to add?
Sure. There's a question there too.
Oh, yep.
Oh, sorry. Do you have to run over?
That's okay.
I'm just holding it back. Why is it not?
All right. I know company brand and making sure that culture is maintained is really important, but how do you manage that with diversity and welcoming as many people as possible? It must be difficult to balance the two when, both are pretty important goals.
Sorry, you're asking about welcoming new members to the team? How do we do that, or just making sure that we're getting to enough?
How you're making sure that you're getting enough diverse talent. So if you have your eyes set on this culture, this brand that you want to replicate each time round with each applicant and a player, how do you make sure that you're able to maintain the diversity that you'd require for a very well-rounded workplace?
I think a good recruiter, somebody who, and a good leader would recognize that you don't have to hire people exactly like yourself, but you look to people who technically have the skills but fit really well into the team. So we do, in addition to, I would say, the more formal side of the interviews, we have that individual meet with the team, and it's really important for us to see how well they mesh and how well they communicate with that team, and if it's a natural fit or if it seems a little bit disjointed. So for us, it's not necessarily about hiring, somebody that fits, these 6 bullets, but it's, how well do they complement that team? And so sometimes it means having somebody who's totally different than the rest of the team, but the ideas that they bring forward or the way they think about problems is so beneficial to us that if we just had one big homogenous group, it wouldn't benefit us nearly as much.
And Allie, did you have anything to add around how your company's been around a little bit longer? How has your brand evolved? Was there a strategy in creating what it was, or is it just the people?
Yeah, part of our brand is that we try to be very authentic, both in the way we present our website to customers and the way we talk to potential employees. So we don't want to spend too much time crafting a pitch or a very clear brand definition of what our company is. our brand is very closely tied to the people that work there. And so one of the things we do when we recruit people is we spend time selling the business. So as people pitch themselves and say, here's why I'm great, here's what I did in my past in past companies, we spend time at our company sitting down with the potential recruit and saying, here's what well.ca does, here's why we're great in certain ways, here's some of the things we care about. And a lot of that is enshrined with our core values, which we put up in a poster in that same recruiting room. So when you wait for an interview at well.ca, you stand there and you see this poster that talks about all the things we care about. And one of those things is diversity, and we spend a lot of time talking about how do we maintain diversity and care about that and value that. One of the things that I think is connected to this whole conversation is this notion of the word culture. We kind of have this love-hate relationship with that word culture, because culture, saying that your company has a culture sort of implies that there's people with cultures that will fit in, and culture is kind of a loaded word, and sometimes it can be opposed to the notion of diversity. And so we try to spend a lot more time talking about values and things that we care about, but that as we bring people on, our culture will change, and that we're excited about that. So, yeah.